In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to complete Form FL115. As presented in previous lessons, you're going to insert your personal information in this section. Since you would have filed FL100 and FL110 with the court, you will be provided a case number upon doing that, and here you're going to insert that case number. Now, you need to have someone who is at least 18 years of age and not a party to this action, meaning it can't be you, serve the filed forms, the forms you filed with the court on the respondent, your spouse. So that's forms FL100 and FL110, and then any accompanying attachments that you filed as well. So you're going to select box 1A, and you're going to indicating that the person providing process service has filed form FL100 and FL110 on the respondent, and they provided the respondent with a blank FL120 response for marriage domestic partnership form. Yes, you do have to include a blank form to the respondent, and you're also going to have to include some additional blank forms as instructed down here, and have them served on the respondent as well. So in this section, if you have children and you completed and filed FL105 with the court, you must select this box. You'll also have to select this box indicating the filed FL311 attachment, which discusses custody and visitation. Now, these additional forms regarding financial declarations don't have to be filed as of yet. You do have 60 days from the date you file your initial petition with the court to serve those documents on the respondent. However, if you do decide to complete those files and have them served on the respondent, then you are going to select the Declaration of Disclosure, FL120. You're also going to select FL150. Now, you won't know for sure how you're going to proceed in your divorce until the respondent files or does not file a response with the court. Now, as discussed in previous lessons, if the respondent does not file a response with the court, you're going to amend your divorce petition and include FL160. So once you amend your divorce petition and have FL160 served on the respondent, you are going to want to also do a proof of service. You are also going to want to do a proof of service form, but you can either do a proof of service by mail or proof of service by person, which are different forms that are also covered in this course. Look under how to serve your spouse module, and I'll detail how to fill out those forms when providing subsequent service of process actions in your divorce. But that first service, proof of service, has to be made in accordance with proof of service of summons FL115. So you're likely not going to select FL160 or FL142 because, again, you don't know how the respondent's going to respond. Now, if they do respond, you'll later complete FL142, and then again, if they don't respond, you're going to amend your petition and complete FL160. Whenever you do file FL105 with the court, again, you have to provide a blank copy on the respondent as well. And then when you do your financial disclosures, you also have to provide the respondent with blank copies. Now you're going to insert the address in which the respondent was served. Now, if you can go ahead and insert the address, or you can have the process server insert the address. It's up to you. There are a few different ways in which a respondent can be served in California. The first is personal service. The second is substituted service. And then the third is the mail and acknowledgement service. Personal service occurs when the process server personally hand delivers the copies referenced above on the respondent. If that occurs, they're going to select 3A, insert the date in which service occurred, and the time. Now, if the process server chooses to serve the respondent at his or her place of work or home, then they're going to either select 3B1 or 3B2. If they are serving the respondent at their place of work or home, they must leave it with someone who is over the age of 18 years old. It cannot be left with a child. They must also inform that person who they are providing the documents to what the general nature of the papers are, and then they also must insert the date in which service occurred and the time. If they do choose option 3B, they must also mail additional copies by first class mail to the respondent at the place where the copies were left. So they must also mail documents to the respondent here in addition to leaving them with the person who is over the age of 18, and then they're going to insert the date in which the mailing occurred. So if the process server chooses to mail the respondent with the documents, then they're going to select box 3C. They're going to put the date in which the documents were mailed and the city in which it occurred. Now, if the respondent lives outside the state of California, they're going to mark box 3C2, and they're going to make sure they send it signed certified mail with a signed return receipt or some other evidence to demonstrate actual delivery to the respondent. If the respondent resides in California, then they're going to make sure they provide 2 copies of FL-117, which I am going to show you how to complete, and a postage paid return envelope address to the process server. The process server is going to insert their first and last name here, their home address, and their phone number. Next, the process server is going to select this person is not a registered process server if you are not using a registered process server. So this means you're probably using a friend or relative to provide process server services for you. If you are using a registered process server, then you're going to be inserting whether they're an employee of an agency, working as an independent contractor. You're going to insert the registration number here, so make sure you receive it from them, and then the county in which they are registered. And then you'll also insert how much you paid that person to perform the process service for you. Here for box 5 and 6, the process server is going to make one of the following declarations. 1, I declare under the penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the foregoing is true and correct. So they're going to most likely select box 5. If you by chance have a sheriff marshal serve these documents, then they're going to select box 6. But most likely box 5 is going to be selected. Once the person who provides process service has completed their personal information, you're going to have them date the form, insert their first and last name, and then sign the document. You need to make 2 copies of this signed document because you're going to file the original plus 2 signed copies with the court. Then you're going to serve 1 signed copy on the respondent, and you'll keep 1 copy for your personal records. If you do decide to have the process server mail the documents to the respondent, please go to lesson FL-117 for more information on how to complete the mail and acknowledgement of service form. The notice and acknowledgement of receipt form. And that concludes this lesson.